You're standing in a dry creek bed 600 meters from the target, and your spotter has already done the math. The wind is left to right at 7 knots, gusting to 12. The temperature is 94 degrees. The round will drop 3 inches over the distance, drift another 2. You've made this shot 100 times in training, 200 times in combat. Your finger is on the trigger guard, not the trigger, but that's a formality now and everyone knows it. The man in the window has no idea you exist. He's talking on a satellite phone, gesturing with his free hand, and somewhere in the building behind him there are 47 confirmed enemy combatants waiting for the signal he's about to give. Your lieutenant's voice is in your ear, calm and certain, telling you to take the shot when ready. Briggs is beside you, watching through the spotting scope, and he hasn't said a word in 45 seconds because he doesn't need to. You both know what this is. You both know what happens next. Except you don't take the shot. You lower the rifle. Not fast, not slow. You just bring it down until the stock touches the dirt and the scope points at nothing. Briggs doesn't move. His eye stays pressed to the spotting scope, recording everything. The man in the window finishes his call, steps back, and disappears into the darkness of the room. The moment passes. The mission changes. And you have just become something you never thought you'd be. The debrief is quiet. That's what you remember most. No shouting. No accusations. Just the intelligence officer writing in a notebook, asking the same question 3 different ways, trying to understand something you can't explain yourself. His name is Keller. First name only because that's how it works in these rooms. You never learn his last name. He asks if you had a clean sightline. You say yes. He asks if you had confirmation of hostile intent. You say yes. He asks if you understood the operational necessity of eliminating the target before the signal was given. You say yes. Then he closes the notebook and looks at you for a long time. He doesn't ask why. He doesn't need to. Whatever you say next will either be the truth or something carefully constructed to sound like it. And Keller has been in this building long enough to know the difference. You've been in the regiment for 11 years. You enlisted at 19, made it through selection at 22, and spent the next 9 years becoming one of the best precision marksmen in the conventional force before transitioning to the unit that doesn't exist on paper. Your service record is clean. Your psychological evaluations are clean. Your shooting scores put you in the top 2% of everyone who has ever held the rifle. You have never hesitated. You have never questioned an order. You have never come back from a mission and wondered whether the person you killed deserved it, because that's not how this job works. You do the math. You pull the trigger. You go home. That's the contract. That's always been the contract. But the contract changed 6 months ago when your daughter got sick. Not sick in the way that makes the news. Sick in the way that drains your bank account at a rate you couldn't have prepared for. The first round of treatments cost $47,000 out of pocket because the military's insurance covers 80% and 80% of a number that large leaves a remainder that still feels like a life sentence. You paid it. You drained the savings account that took you a decade to build. Then the second round came and the savings account was already empty, so you put it on credit cards because what else do you do when your child is scheduled for surgery in 4 days and the hospital wants $23,000 up front? You told yourself the mission tempo would cover it. You told yourself deployment money would fill the gaps. You told yourself you'd figure it out because you always figure it out. Then the third round came and you couldn't figure it out anymore. Your credit card debt is $58,000. The interest alone is $1,200 a month. Your mortgage is $3,400. Your daughter needs a second surgery that isn't covered at all because the provider changed the coding and now it's considered experimental even though it's the same procedure they approved 6 months ago. You have $211 in checking. Your wife works part-time at a daycare because someone has to be home for appointments, and her paycheck covers groceries and nothing else. You are 37 years old and you have killed 31 people in service to your country, and you cannot afford to keep your child alive. That's not hyperbole. That's the math. Briggs knows something is wrong before anyone else does. He's been your spotter for 4 years. He knows how you breathe before a shot. He knows how you sleep during infill. He knows the sound of your rifle closing after maintenance and whether that sound means you're ready or just going through the motions. He pulls you aside after the debrief and asks if you're okay. Not in the way officers ask, where the answer is always yes and the conversation ends. He asks like someone who has already seen the answer in your eyes and is giving you one chance to say it out loud. You tell him you're fine. He nods. He doesn't believe you, but he doesn't push. That's Briggs. He gives you the space to save yourself and waits for you to take it. The offer comes 3 weeks later. You're in a hotel room in a country you're not supposed to be in, waiting for a mission that keeps getting pushed. Keller finds you in the lobby. Not the intelligence officer from the debrief. A different Keller. First name only. No last name. He sits across from you in the coffee shop and orders nothing. He doesn't introduce himself. He doesn't need to. You know what he is the moment you see the way he holds his body, the way his eyes move across the room, the way he doesn't look at you when he's talking because he's looking at everything else. He says your name, not your rank. Your name. That's how you know this isn't official. He says he has a problem. He says the problem requires someone with your skill set. He says the problem involves a person who needs to be removed from a situation that the official channels can't touch. He says the payment would be $250,000, cash, delivered to an account of your choosing, no trace, no record, no mission report. He says you would never meet him again. He says you would never speak of it. He says the person in question has done things that would earn them a sentence of multiple life terms in any court in the world. But the court doesn't exist and the evidence can't be shown, and the only justice that matters is the kind that happens in the dark. You say no. You say it without hesitation. You say it because you're still the person who took an oath, still the person who believes in the uniform, still the person who thinks there's a line between what you do for your country and what you do for money. Keller nods. He stands up. He walks away. And you think that's the end of it. It's not the end of it. 2 days later, your daughter's hospital calls. The second surgery has been approved. Not by insurance. By an anonymous donor who paid the entire balance of your outstanding medical debt. $62,700. Paid in full. No name. No organization. Just a single wire transfer from an account that traces back to a shell company in Delaware that traces back to nothing at all. Your wife is crying on the phone, telling you it's a miracle. You stand in the hotel bathroom with the water running so Briggs can't hear you, and you know exactly what it is. It's not a miracle. It's a purchase. You've just been bought, and you didn't even get to set the price. Keller doesn't contact you again. He doesn't need to. The message is clear. The debt is paid. The expectation is set. And now you wait because that's how these things work. You wait for the ask. You wait for the moment when you're given a target and a timeline and a location, and the only thing left to decide is whether you're the person who says yes or the person who says no and loses everything they just gained. You tell yourself you'll say no. You tell yourself you'll find another way. You tell yourself you'll go to Briggs, explain everything, let him help you figure it out. But you don't. You don't because Briggs would tell you to go to the authorities, and the authorities would ask questions, and the questions would lead to the hospital, and the hospital would lead to the wire transfer, and the wire transfer would lead to the shell company, and the shell company would lead to nothing because that's how Keller operates, but by then everyone would know. Your command would know. Your wife would know. Your daughter would grow up knowing that her father's career ended not because he was a bad soldier, but because he was a desperate one. And somehow that feels worse. For months pass. You go on 3 more missions. You take 2 more shots. Both clean. Both necessary. Both by the book. You tell yourself you're still the same person. You tell yourself the thing with Keller was an anomaly, a moment of weakness that you've corrected, a mistake you won't repeat. You believe this because you have to believe it. The alternative is too large to hold in your hands. Then the ask comes. It's a Thursday. You're in the barracks, cleaning your rifle, the same ritual you've done 1,000 times. Your phone buzzes. A text from an unknown number. 3 words. Coffee shop. Tomorrow. 0600. You delete the message. You finish cleaning the rifle. You sleep exactly 4 hours. And at 0550 the next morning, you're standing in front of the coffee shop, watching the door, trying to remember who you were before any of this happened. Keller is already inside. He's drinking black coffee from a paper cup. He doesn't stand when you approach. He doesn't shake your hand. He slides a photograph across the table and waits. The photograph shows a man you don't recognize. Middle-aged, graying at the temples, dressed in a suit that costs more than your car. He's standing outside a building in a city you've never visited. Keller tells you the man's name. He tells you what the man has done. He tells you that the man is currently protected by a network of lawyers and lobbyists and former intelligence officials who have built a wall around him that no conventional investigation can penetrate. He tells you that the man will be in a specific location on a specific date, and that the location has a sight line of 800 meters from a building that can be accessed without raising suspicion. He tells you the payment this time is $500,000. He tells you the medical debt was a gift, no strings attached. But the opportunity in front of you is something else entirely. Partnership, a relationship, a way to make sure your family never worries about money again. You look at the photograph. You look at Keller. You think about your daughter's next surgery, which isn't covered, which will cost another $40,000, which is scheduled for 6 weeks from today. You think about your credit card debt, which is now $73,000 because the interest has been compounding while you pretended it wasn't happening. You think about Briggs, who asked you again last week if you were okay, and you lied again, and the look on his face said he knew you were lying but didn't know why. You think about the oath you took. You think about the 31 people you've killed. You think about whether there's a difference between killing someone in a uniform and killing someone in civilian clothes, and whether that difference matters when the person in civilian clothes has done things that would make the people in uniforms sick to their stomachs. You say yes. You say it quietly. You say it without looking at Keller's face. You say it because the math has already been done and the math says you can't afford to say no. Keller nods. He stands up. He walks out. And you sit in the coffee shop for 45 minutes, staring at the photograph, trying to find the part of yourself that used to know right from wrong without having to calculate the interest rate. The mission is simple. That's the worst part. It's so simple that you almost convince yourself it's not really happening. You fly commercial to a city you've never been to. You check into a hotel under a fake name. You wait. You spend 3 days learning the target's patterns. When he wakes up, when he leaves his house, when he comes back, when the security detail rotates, when the windows are open and when they're closed, when the light hits the 8th floor in a way that gives you a clean sight line from the abandoned office building across the street. You do this work because it's what you're trained to do. You do this work because it keeps you from thinking about what comes next. Briggs calls you on the second night. He doesn't ask where you are. He doesn't ask what you're doing. He asks if you remember the time you both got stuck in the mountains during a training exercise and had to share a single MRE for 36 hours. You say you remember. He says he thinks about that sometimes. About how cold it was. About how you gave him the last of your water even though you were just as dehydrated as he was. About how he didn't know anyone could be that loyal. He says he hopes you're okay. He says he hopes you know you can tell him anything. He says he'll see you when you get back. Then he hangs up, and you sit in the dark of the hotel room, listening to the hum of the air conditioner, and you realize that Briggs knows. He doesn't know the details. He doesn't know about Keller or the money or the target. But he knows something is wrong. And he's giving you one last chance to come back before you cross whatever line you're standing on. You don't take it. The day arrives. You wake up at 0400. You eat a protein bar. You drink half a bottle of water. You pack the rifle in a case that looks like it contains musical equipment because that's what Keller provided. You walk to the abandoned office building. You climb the stairs to the 4th floor because the elevator hasn't worked in years. You set up in a corner office with a window that faces the target's building. You wait. The sun rises. The city wakes up. The traffic builds on the streets below. You check the wind. 5 knots from the north, gusting to 8. Temperature 62 degrees. The shot is clean. It's always clean. At 0814, the target appears in the window. He's on the phone again. Of course he is. He's always on the phone. He's pacing back and forth, gesturing with his free hand, the same way the man in the dry creek bed gestured 6 months ago. You watch him through the scope. You do the math. You calculate the holdover. You track the wind. Your finger moves from the trigger guard to the trigger. Your breathing slows. Your heart rate drops. Everything in your body is telling you to take the shot because everything in your body has been trained for this moment. And then you see the child. She walks into the frame. She's maybe 6 years old. She's wearing a purple shirt and holding a stuffed animal. She tugs on the target's sleeve. He looks down at her. He smiles. He picks her up. He holds her in one arm while still talking on the phone, and the child waves at something outside the window, something you can't see, something that makes her laugh. And you realize that the target is not a target. He is a father. He is a man who is loved by someone who does not know what he has done. He is someone's daughter's entire world. And you are about to take that away. You don't take the shot. You don't lower the rifle this time. You just stop. You stop everything. Your finger stays on the trigger, but you don't squeeze. Your breathing stays slow, but you don't exhale the final breath that would steady the crosshairs. You watch the target walk away from the window, still holding his daughter, still talking on the phone, still completely unaware that his life just depended on a 6-year-old in a purple shirt. You watch until the window is empty. Then you pack the rifle. Then you walk down the stairs. Then you leave the building. Then you call Keller from a burner phone and you say 3 words. It's not happening. Keller says nothing for a long time. Then he says a single sentence. He says your family will be taken care of. He doesn't say how. He doesn't say by whom. He just says it, and then the line goes dead, and you're standing on a street corner in a city you've never been to, holding a phone that's already starting to feel like evidence. You fly home the next day. You don't tell anyone where you've been. You don't tell anyone what you almost did. You go back to work. You go back to the barracks. You go back to Briggs, who looks at you for a long time and then nods like he's just confirmed something he already knew. He doesn't ask where you were. He doesn't ask what happened. He just says welcome back. And you realize that Briggs has been protecting you without you even knowing it. That he's been covering for you. That he's been running interference with the command, telling them you've been dealing with family issues, telling them you need space, telling them you're still the same soldier you've always been. He's been lying for you, and he doesn't even know what he's lying about. 2 weeks pass. You start to believe it's over. You start to believe that Keller has moved on, found someone else, someone who won't hesitate, someone who doesn't have a daughter in a purple shirt living in their head. You start to believe that you can go back to the life you had before, the simple life, the clean life, the life where the only math you did was windage and elevation. You start to believe this because you need to believe it, because the alternative is unbearable. Then the task force shows up. Not for you, for Briggs. They come at 0600 on a Tuesday. 6 of them. 3 from CI. 3 from an agency you can't identify. They pull Briggs out of the morning briefing. They take him to a room with no windows. They question him for 11 hours. They want to know about the time he's been covering for you. They want to know where you went on your unauthorized travel. They want to know about the phone calls, the texts, the burner phones that someone traced back to your location. They want to know what Briggs knew and when he knew it. And Briggs tells them the truth. He tells them he didn't know anything. He tells them he was just being a friend. He tells them he thought you were dealing with family issues. He tells them he never asked because he trusted you. And that's the part that destroys him. Not the lying, the trusting. Because the CI agents look at each other when he says that. They look at each other like they've just heard something that confirms a theory they've been building for weeks. And suddenly Briggs is not just a witness. He's a suspect. You find out about it 12 hours later. You find out from a lieutenant who pulls you aside and tells you that Briggs has been suspended pending investigation. The lieutenant doesn't know the details. He doesn't know why. He just knows that Briggs was taken off the roster and that you should probably stay away from him until things get sorted out. You nod. You say okay. You walk to your bunk. You sit down. And you realize what Keller meant when he said your family would be taken care of. He didn't mean financially. He meant surgically. He meant that if you wouldn't do the job, he would find another way to make sure the threat was eliminated. And the threat wasn't the target. The threat was you. The threat was loose ends. The threat was anyone who might have known something they shouldn't. Briggs didn't know anything, but he knew enough. He knew you were lying. He knew you were hiding something. He knew you were changing. And to someone like Keller, that's worse than knowing the truth. Because someone who knows you're hiding something might try to find out what it is. And someone who tries to find out what it is might find out everything. You go to see Briggs. You go at 2300. You go to his quarters, which are in a different building, which is how you know this is serious because you've never been to his quarters before. He opens the door. He looks at you. He doesn't say anything. You stand in the doorway for a full minute, neither of you speaking, the silence filling the space between you like water rising in a room with no exit. Then Briggs says one sentence. He says, "You should have told me." Not in anger, not in accusation, just in fact. You should have told me, and you don't have an answer for that. You don't have an answer for any of it. You stand there in the doorway of the best friend you've ever had, the man who trusted you with his life 100 times in 100 different places, and you have nothing to say because everything you could say would be an excuse and you've run out of excuses. He closes the door. You stand in the hallway. You hear him move away from the door, deeper into the room. You hear him sit down. You hear the creak of the chair. You hear nothing else. You stand there for a long time. Then you walk back to your bunk. Then you lie down. Then you stare at the ceiling. And you realize that the shot you refuse to take is nothing compared to the shots you've already taken. Not the ones from the rifle. The ones from the choices. The small ones. The quiet ones. The ones that felt like survival at the time and feel like murder now. You think about Briggs. You think about the task force. You think about Keller, sitting in some coffee shop somewhere, drinking black coffee, waiting for the next soldier who can't afford to say no. You think about your daughter. You think about the purple shirt. You think about the 6-year-old in the window who will never know that a man with a rifle watched her father through a scope and decided not to pull the trigger. You think about whether that decision made you a good person or just a coward. You think about whether there's a difference. You sit up. You reach for your phone. You scroll through your contacts. You stop on a number you've never called before. The number for the task force. The number that Keller told you to never call. The number that exists only for emergencies. The number that will end your career and your marriage and everything else you've spent your life building. You stare at it. You think about Briggs, sitting alone in his room, suspended from the only job he's ever loved, paying a price he never agreed to pay. You think about the question you've been avoiding for 6 months. The question you'll never answer out loud. The question of whether you warned them about Briggs on purpose. Whether you let the investigation happen because some part of you needed it to happen. Whether you wanted to get caught. Whether you wanted someone else to make the decision you couldn't make yourself. Whether the child in the window was the reason you didn't take the shot or just the excuse you gave yourself because the real reason was too ugly to admit. You press call. The phone rings. Once, twice, 3 times. A voice answers. Not Keller. Someone else. Someone who asks your name. Someone who already knows the answer. You open your mouth. You don't know what you're going to say. You don't know if you're confessing or asking for help or turning yourself in or just finally telling the truth to someone who doesn't have a purple shirt and a stuffed animal and a face that will haunt you for the rest of your life. You don't know if there's a difference between any of those things anymore. The voice asks again. Your name, your rank, your unit. And you realize that you're not the first person who made this calculation. You won't be the last. Right now, somewhere, someone else is doing the same math. Pressure on one side, principle on the other, a child in a window, a friend in a room, a balance sheet that doesn't add up no matter how many times you run the numbers. And the answer comes easier than it should. That's the part no one tells you. The answer comes easier than it should. The hardest part isn't deciding. The hardest part is living with the fact that the decision was easy all along. You tell the voice your name. You tell the voice your rank. You tell the voice your unit. And then you tell the voice everything else.